In the last 1 year, Nigeria has continued to experience a slide in its active .ng domain name, which is Nigeria's identity in the cyberspace. Well, some would say, what's in a name? Well, let's find out. Joining us now is the President, Nigeria Internet Registration Association, Mr. Muhammed Rudman, joining us right here in the studios. Great to have you.
Thank you so much, Ladi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hearing a lot about the NiRA, for a while now.
Yes.
Tell us about your association, first of all.
Okay, the Nigerian Internet Registration Association is a non-governmental, not-for-profit association, and we are the custodians of the .ng country code top-level domain. That is for Nigeria.
All right, and
Yes.
what are your functions? What do you do?
The function is to allow Nigerians access to the .ng domains. And as you know, every country in the world have a two-character name, on the internet, like .uk, .us, and the rest. So Nigeria is .ng, and we are the ones, the custodians of the .ng.
Quite interesting. How do you see adoption?
The adoption
is
quite pathetic, it's quite low.
Right.
And that's why we are going to reaching out advocacy, sensitizing Nigerians to ensure that they own their online identity.
But what is so special about having this domain name added to your company name?
The specialty is that when it comes to search engine optimization on the internet, and if you register a .ng, of course Google and the others will rank those Nigerian companies. And as you are aware, most of the companies that are registered in Nigeria, the visibility they are after, 80% of that visibility is within Nigeria. Hardly do most of the Nigerian companies actually sell products internationally. So in terms of national reach and visibility, people need to adopt the .ng, especially companies.
So if I have just a random domain name and I do business, I can just
you can use the .com.
Get the visibility.
Yeah, you can get the .com, but it will take you a lot more efforts to get the necessary visibility if you're using .com, because you are now in the global wide arena. And sometimes, in fact, what we encourage people why to register .ng is because when you register .ng, you pay in NiRA. Right now, as you know, NiRA is being devalued. We don't want what is called capital flight, people paying for domains, especially, for example, most Nigerians register .com, and .com is owned by a company called VeriSign, and that money flows out of the country to go and pay for that domain. And what we have been advocating is for people to register those domains, apart from only registering those domains, to ensure that those domains and the content and the hosting is done within Nigeria.
Quite interesting. So that's basically importation, when you get the domain names from out there.
Correct.
Taking out very important dollars that we actually need.
We actually need.
Quite
absolutely
interesting.
Right.
So recently you slashed the price of the .ng domain name.
Correct.
And I'm wondering, what was the price before now?
So I wouldn't want to mention the price because, we have registrars, the ones that are reselling to the individuals, and the pricing varies in the ecosystem. Some charge higher, profit margin, some charge low. I wouldn't want to mention the price, but we have sliced the price by roughly around 50%.
50%?
Correct.
Okay. That's a big number.
That's a big one.
But I'm wondering why. Why the slide?
Why the slide? Because the purchasing power of Nigerians has dropped. And two, when it comes to revenue, we have as a not-for-profit organization, we have generated sufficient surpluses over the years, and we decided we need to give opportunity to all Nigerians to own the .ng. And that slash is actually on the second level domain, something .ng directly. But if you are purchasing a .com.ng, it's as low as 1,000 naira. I can mention that, for a .com.ng, as a company, if you want to register, it's as low as 1,000 naira, which is roughly around $2.
That's quite cheap.
Yeah.
But why do you think the adoption rate is still quite low, considering the price?
It's generally, most of us Nigerians, we don't want to purchase local products. And that has been the major issue in Nigeria. We are mostly importing, and people don't want to associate with local products. So a lot of people feel that .ng is superior, .com .ng is inferior, .com is superior, and therefore they tend to go for foreign domains, especially the .com. And that has been the mentality in terms of that. So we've been trying to sensitize people that technically, and at any other level, .ng is similar to .com. Of course, .com might have more global infrastructure because of their share size. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. Of course, you can't compare it with us. But in terms of network stability, since inception of .ng, I can assure you we are live here, and people can challenge that we have never failed, not even once. So we've been running 100% uptime. So technically, we are exactly the same thing with the .com. And if we patronize the .ng, you know, what I encourage Nigerians is that the money remains in the local economy. We employ more Nigerians, and more Nigerians will be more competent towards the administration of the .ng. So it's important that we do that.
Quite interesting. But what's the current registration like?
So the current registration is around 200,000 domains. Considering that you have 211 million people in Nigeria, with, according to the recent statistics by the NCC, about 201 million people have telephone lines, and maybe around 148 million have internet access. And still, you know, we have this small, very, very small number. And that's because of the way of we perceive our identity online.
Right. Earlier this year, I know the Federal Executive Council barred, you know, some government officials from using, you know, random domain names, and I'm wondering why now?
Okay, so over the years, actually, federal government have tried to insist that all government agencies adopt the .gov.ng because that's official, considering that there are a lot of scammers online, especially when it comes to job opportunities and so many other things. So there is need for government agencies to adopt the official website for each one of them. They have a .gov.ng. And over the years, some of them have been resisting, and they were using .org, .others on the internet. And right now, this government has really taken the right step in the right direction to ensure that all government parastatals, department, agencies are using the .gov.ng. Apart from not only using the website, they want to insist that everybody uses the email address under that domain. So you will see before now, some government, I've been to, what is it called, the defense headquarters some time back, a few years back, discussed with the general, and he gave me a card, and I saw a Yahoo email address, which is unbelievable. They already have .mil.ng, that is for .military. So this time around, they really want to insist that everyone adopts, including the email address, and goes a level higher to ensure that that content is residing within Nigerian shoes for our own data sovereignty.
But this is not the first time, you know, they're taking this stance.
So initially, all that stance was there was no single policy that was fully documented that was supposed to be implemented. This time around, there is a policy that is coming from Federal Executive Council that was approved for that adoption. And right now, there is a committee under the National Information Technology Development Agency to ensure that compliance.
Still looking at the price reduction, what impact do you expect? Do you expect more adoption?
Yes, so that review of pricing was done in March this year. And from March till now, we have seen like 30% increase in terms of adoption, in terms of the numbers. And we hope that that will increase substantially over the years.
Quite interesting. So what is the connection between .ng, local data hosting, and data sovereignty?
Okay, so the .ng is just the window to the internet. You register a name, you know, for people to reach out to you. In that name, when you reach there, there is content, information that resides there, right? That you give to your web developer to create that content. But that content actually resides somewhere. A lot of people think it's called a cloud, right? You put information on the cloud. But the cloud is actually a physical infrastructure residing somewhere in the world. And what we are saying is that that information should reside within the shores of Nigeria. So if you register a .ng, make sure that you have a Nigerian programmer, web developer that developed that content for you, and ensure that it's residing within a local data center. So we have huge data centers in Nigeria, and we'll be able to host that information. And the beauty of hosting that information in Nigeria is that, as we speak now, almost all the containers that comes into Nigeria go back empty, right? The same thing with the internet. We are more of download than offload. And why? Because our information resides outside Nigeria. So when you put your information in Nigeria, it means you reduce the transmission distance for you to go and reach that content, and therefore it becomes shorter, and that's what is called latency. The latency drops, and you have it very cheap, because right now what we are paying, while the internet is expensive, you have submarine cables that were laid under the sea, subsea cables, all the way from Nigeria to Europe. Right? But if you have your domesticated internet within Nigeria, what happens is that the cost of internet drops. That data sovereignty you're talking about, right now, if, for example, a governor of Lagos has an email address and the email server is in the UK or in America, when he sends an email to his PA, the email traverses all the way to UK. When he's downloading that email, it has to come back from UK. And between here and the UK, between here and America, there are so many other countries, and therefore, that data can be compromised. People can, networks can eavesdrop, and they can know what is happening. So for data sovereignty is important, and security, that all our information resides within Nigeria. So it makes it also cheaper, it makes it faster. The advantages are just countless.
Quite interesting. What are the incentives to get more private companies using the .ng?
So we have seen the adoption actually increases, and I said we need to do more awareness, and the strategy is keep campaigning, keep sensitizing, because some people do not even know that the .ng exists. So it's important to do that so that,
And we might not get a mandate at some point?
No. You see, we are not a government agency, as I said. We are not for profit organization. And I happen to be the president elected for 4 years. After the next year, I'm gone. Other people will come. And you can be a member of NiRA. So we don't look for government mandate to ensure that Nigerians adopt .ng. For us is to show the value and let them jump into it, not using regulation to compel anyone to buy the .ng. People should be patriotic enough to patronize their own local online identity.
Quite interesting.
Yes.
Recently, most developers, were complaining that they can't pay for servers abroad, due to credit card related issues. How is this helping them, at this point?
Fantastic. Excellent one there. You see, as I mentioned earlier, most of these developers host the information outside Nigeria. And right now, because of the credit card issues, you can't use your NiRA card to pay for a USD product anywhere in the world. So it's becoming difficult. And this is what we've been telling them. It's important we domesticate. We are not happy that it has reached this level, but to some extent at the back end, I'm happy that it's happening, so that they migrate their information locally within local data centers, within local hosting companies, and they can pay with their NiRA card. So it's quite challenging, and it's easy to migrate all the information that is out there back into the country.
Do we have efficient, because data centers and data hosting is another, kettle of fish. Do we have enough, for this?
Yes. So in the last few years, we have seen emergence of huge data centers in Nigeria. There is what is called an Uptime Institute. It's a certification agency that certifies globally data centers. And there is what is called Tier 3 data centers. There is Tier 4, but Tier 3 are the standard data centers. So we have such data centers in Nigeria that are resilient, that since their inception, not a single day have they gone down. You have, like, for example, Rack Center, you have, MDX, owned by Min1. There are countless, there are so many coming in. Google have just launched the submarine cable, the Equiano, and there is what is called Open Access Data Center. They are building it $400 million. There are Africa Data Center that resides in the Eco-Atlantic City, is already live and active. There is another one called Medallion Communication. There are so many data centers that before now, in the last 10 years, we've seen emergence of such data centers, and they are more than capable to handle
all the traffic,
correct,
expected traffic.
Correct.
So if I am, hosting a .ng domain now, say with company A, can I, port it out to say maybe a company B?
Yeah, correct. Yes. So we have registrars. We have about 70 of them, or about 73 of them, and you can move from one registrar to another. And in fact, we have ways to ensure that even if the registrar resists, eventually we'll find a way to compel him to allow you move your domain. So people have options. Yes. So you can move from one registrar to the other.
To the other.
Correct.
Quite interesting. Well, we'll keep tracking adoption of the .ng domain name. I'll keep my eyes.
And you also need to buy one.
Why not?
There is name.ng. People use it to put their names, and it's as low as 400 naira.
For your personal brand.
For your own personal branding. So you can buy ladi.ng.
Ladi.ng. That
Correct.
sounds actually good. Thank you so much, Mr. Muhammed Rudman,
Thank you
President,
so much.
Nigeria Internet Registration Associate. It was great having the conversation with you.
Delighted to be here. Thank you so much.
Right.
I appreciate it.
So after the break, FX Commodities Market Update is next. Do stay with us. This is Business Morning.